When that banking notification flashes on your phone, what's your instant gut feeling? Is it relief or anxiety or maybe, a vague sense of dread? That immediate reaction you have, that's actually far more informative than your credit score.
That really is the core thesis of the sources we analyzed for this deep dive. We're not looking at investment tips or complicated market analysis today.
Right.
We are getting into some comprehensive guides on salary negotiation, debt management, and financial psychology. And what they all confirm is that your bank account is really just a mirror. It's reflecting your mind.
Right.
Financial success isn't primarily about market knowledge. It's about mastering 3 deeply personal skills.
Exactly. We see it as mastering 3 key elements. First, there's the mindset, which is sort of the foundation of your relationship with money.
Okay.
Then you have your financial resilience, which acts like a shield, protecting your assets.
The shield. I like that.
And finally, your ability to advocate for your worth. That's the proactive sort you use to actually increase your income.
Our mission today is really to distill the actionable behavioral steps hidden in all this research. We want to give you those nuggets that lead to lasting security, not just some quick fix.
So let's start with that foundation, the invisible script that's running the whole show.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. Think about 2 friends you know. They might have the exact same education, earn roughly the same salary, but one is always stressed out, living paycheck to paycheck, and the other just seems totally secure, able to take advantage of opportunities. Why the huge difference?
The sources, they call this the power of money scripts.
Money scripts, yeah.
Yeah, they're these unconscious beliefs that get programmed deep into you during childhood. Maybe you heard your parents say, we just can't afford nice things, or something like, money is the root of all evil.
Or you just saw that tension, right? That silent anxiety every time a bill showed up.
Exactly. Those emotional associations, they get wired into your nervous system, and they end up dictating your adult financial behavior. They're running a script you didn't even know you were reading.
Which makes rational change feel almost impossible. That's a powerful idea, that it's not laziness, it's just old programming.
Right.
So if we want to rewrite this script, where do we even begin?
You start by identifying the characters. Their research has sort of categorized these deep-rooted feelings into 4 core money personalities.
Okay.
The first one is the money avoider. This person views wealth as inherently dirty or shallow.
So to avoid feeling materialistic, they subconsciously sabotage their own success.
Yes. They undercharge for their services, they'll turn down promotions, they might forget to follow up on an invoice. It's almost a form of self-punishment to maintain this, moral self-image.
And then on the total opposite end of that spectrum, you've got the money worshiper.
The money worshiper, this is the person who believes money is the solution to everything. Relationships, happiness, health. Money will fix it.
But there's a trap there, right?
A huge trap. They sacrifice everything for financial gain, but they never actually feel secure. They're always just chasing the next milestone because their internal identity, it hasn't shifted at all.
And then there's the money status seeker. I think we all know this one.
Oh, yeah. For them, money is all about external validation. They use it to basically rent self-esteem.
The unaffordable car, the designer watch.
The constant need to impress. They're driven by this deep fear of feeling less than, and that finish line is just constantly moving because
status is always relative.
it's always relative. Exactly.
Okay, so the fourth one is the money vigilant person. On the surface, this sounds like the good one. They're incredibly careful. They track every expense.
Which all sounds great. But the shadow side is this intense anxiety. They are so focused on security and the possibility of loss that they can't enjoy their money. They can't take any kind of calculated risk.
This is the friend who refuses to pay for parking, drives around for 20 minutes to save $5, and shows up totally stressed out.
Yes. And that anxiety is key because it locks them directly into what the research calls the destructive scarcity mindset.
The scarcity mindset.
Right. When you operate from a place of fear and limitation, a thing called tunneling happens. You feel stressed about lack, and your brain's resources just narrow to focus only on that immediate problem.
But hold on, isn't it a bit patronizing to tell someone who's genuinely struggling that they just need an abundance mindset? How do the sources bridge that gap?
That's a really critical question. The sources emphasize that this scarcity trap is physical. It's not just in your head.
Okay,
When you are genuinely poor or you're stressed about bills, your brain is preoccupied with survival. That literally reduces your ability to plan long term.
I see.
So abundance isn't about pretending to be rich. It's about believing in your ability to create value and find solutions. It means you invest in yourself, you negotiate confidently because you trust better options exist. You move from there isn't enough to I can create enough.
And that gets us to what you call the income thermostat, the deepest psychological barrier.
Exactly. This is that profound link between self-worth and net worth. If you subconsciously don't believe you deserve wealth, you will find ways to sabotage yourself.
You'll tolerate underpayment, or your spending will magically rise to meet every single raise you get.
You'll maintain that same financial equilibrium because your core identity hasn't shifted. To truly break that thermostat, you have to consciously align your behavior with the identity you want to have.
So how do you physically adjust that setting?
You start by proving to your subconscious that you are worthy of that extra money, instead of letting a new raise just disappear into lifestyle creep.
Which is so easy to do.
It's the default. Instead, you intentionally save, say, 80% of it. But then you consciously allow yourself to spend 10% on something that isn't essential, a luxury, an experience, something you truly enjoy.
You're telling yourself, I earned this and I deserve to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Okay, so the mindset gives us the map. But a map doesn't help much if your car breaks down. That brings us to building the shield, the resilience we need when the unexpected hits.
And this is where reality hits really hard. The studies show that nearly 40% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something.
40%. That one number shows you that financial security isn't about being rich. It's about having that immediate buffer.
It's the difference between a minor inconvenience and having your life totally destabilized.
Yeah.
The emergency fund is that shield, and we have to be really clear on what it's for. An emergency is something unexpected and urgent.
Job loss, a major medical event, your furnace breaking in the middle of winter.
Yes. It is not a routine expense like renewing your car registration or buying holiday gifts. Its purpose is to stop you from falling into those toxic debt traps.
High-interest credit cards, or even worse, raiding your retirement accounts.
Catastrophic.
So what's the target number for this shield?
The standard recommendation is 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses.
And let's be clear, essential means housing, utilities, food, insurance, minimum debt payments, your bare bones survival budget.
Exactly.
And what if you're a freelancer or you're in a really volatile field?
Then you absolutely increase that target. Irregular income, a single income household, if you're a homeowner with unpredictable repair costs, you should be aiming for 9 to 12 months.
That extended runway gives you peace of mind. It lets you operate from abundance, no scarcity when things get tough.
Now let's talk about debt, the heavy psychological burden of it. The key concept here is the starter emergency fund.
$1,000 to $2,000. Why is that starter fund so critical? Why save that before you attack the high-interest debt?
Because debt creates what's called learned helplessness. When you're aggressively paying down balances, a $500 car repair can just undo months of progress.
And that feels so defeating. You just go right back to the credit card.
Right. That small buffer, that starter fund, it prevents those minor crises from spiraling you back into debt. It protects your progress, which, in turn, protects your motivation.
Okay, so once that buffer is secure, you have to choose an attack strategy. Let's talk about the two big ones. Snowball versus avalanche.
Okay, so the debt avalanche is the mathematician's choice. You list your debts from the highest interest rate down to the lowest.
From a pure numbers perspective, this saves you the most money. It cuts the debt down faster overall.
It does. The math absolutely supports the avalanche.
But human beings quit when they lose momentum. For most people who are drowning in bills, isn't the psychological win of the debt snowball listing debts smallest to largest the better first step?
The sources actually agree. The snowball is often the superior behavioral choice. It's all about motivation.
Those quick, small wins.
Yes. Eliminating a small debt completely creates visible momentum. It fuels the mental energy you need to tackle the bigger, more expensive debts later on. At the end of the day, the best strategy is the one you actually stick with.
That makes perfect sense. All right, now let's take out the sword. Actively increasing your income through negotiation. The lifetime cost of silence here is just staggering.
It really is. The research shows that people who successfully negotiate their very first salary can earn over $500,000 more during their careers.
$500,000 more. You're not leaving a tip on the table. You are leaving a small fortune there.
And the company expects you to negotiate. They build a buffer into their budget for it.
So how do we approach this not as a confrontation, but as a business discussion?
Leverage and timing are everything. The employer has already invested a ton of time interviewing and vetting people. They want you. That's your power.
So you deflect salary questions early in the process.
You do. You say you're focused on the value of the role first.
Mm.
The ideal time to talk compensation is after you get the formal written offer.
That's your moment of maximum leverage.
Exactly. And crucially, this cannot be based on what you need to pay your rent.
It has to be based on what the market says you are worth.
Absolutely. The negotiation has to be based on objective third-party data. Glassdoor, pay scale, industry reports for your specific role, your location, your experience. That research is the foundation of your confidence.
So when it comes time to actually craft that counteroffer, what's the right structure, the right tone?
You want to start with genuine enthusiasm and gratitude for the offer. Then you frame the request as discussing alignment.
Alignment.
Yeah, alignment based on your market research and the specific value you bring to the role. You have to transform your request from just a random number into a logical, evidence-based proposition.
Which means quantifying your achievements. Can you give some examples of that?
Sure. Don't just say, I'm a hard worker. You say, in my last role, I increased sales pipeline revenue by 35%, or I automated the reporting process, which saved the team 15 hours a month.
Use those metrics as the justification for the higher salary.
That's your rationale. And when you state that counter number, you want to use a bracketing strategy.
Bracketing. Okay, how does that work?
You counter with a range that's higher than your actual target. So let's say your research shows 90,000 is fair, and you'd be happy with that.
All right.
You counter with a range something like 92 to 100,000. When they come back and meet you at 90, it feels like a friendly compromise for both sides, but you still hit your target.
That's smart. But what happens when you hit a firm wall on the base salary? They say something about internal equity.
Internal equity just means they can't pay you significantly more than an existing colleague in the same role. It would throw their whole pay structure out of balance.
So what's the move?
If you hear that, you pivot immediately to other valuable non-salary components.
Like what?
Ask for a signing bonus. That's a one-time cost. It's often much easier for a company to get approved than a recurring salary increase.
Or things like more vacation time, remote work flexibility, a professional development budget.
Exactly. Things that have real monetary value, even if they aren't in your paycheck every 2 weeks.
And if they push back on everything,
Then you ask for a clear, documented commitment to review and adjust your salary after 6 months, tied to specific, measurable goals. It gives them an out for now, and it gives you a defined path to increasing your worth later.
it all comes full circle right back to the mindset. The negotiation is the sword that increases your income. The emergency fund is the shield that protects it. But your ability to actually wield both of them relies entirely on that internal belief, that core conviction that you are worthy of security and success. Your self-worth dictates your net worth.
So for you, the learner who wants to take action right now, here are the first steps from our sources. 1, identify your dominant money personality and just write down the script that's been running your life.
Just get it on paper.
Get it on paper. 2, start saving your starter emergency fund, that $1,000 to $2,000. Build that resilience immediately.
And 3, document your achievements and research your market value today. You need to know the price of your sword before you even think about taking it into battle.
Ultimately, what the sources reveal is that financial transformation is less about being smart with math and more about being resilient against that powerful pull of instant gratification and the fear of social judgment.
So what's the real cost of letting comparison, shame, and fear control your financial decisions today? And what one small identity-aligned action will you take right now to begin rewriting your money script?
Will you save $10? Track your spending for just one day, or maybe make one phone call to research the market value of your professional skills.
The deep dive is done, but your action starts now.